Today I'm talking about the fact that you can soar like an eagle. You know, there's no limitation on anyone's life, or for that matter, their potential, except the ones we impose on ourselves. There's no limitation on your potential at all, except the ones you have imposed on yourselves. And as you keep coming to these seminars, you remove all those limitations because you begin to make the right choices. You discover your potential, your area of gifting, talent, ability, endowment. Then you give yourself to it, and before you realize, you are soaring like an eagle. You become the superstar, successful as you want to be. I believe that that's what everybody wants for themselves. Successful in your education, in your career, in your relationships, in your family life, in your finance, in every other area that you set a goal for yourself. That's my passion. That's what I want every one of you to become. So thank you all for coming today. A very popular motivational speaker in America called Les Brown started with a very disadvantaged background. He said, if you run around with 9 losers, very soon you'll be the 10th loser. So the people you run around with, very important. Also, no one else will take better care of your dreams than you yourself. I emphasized last week that our success doesn't depend on our parents, on our teachers, on our friends, on our colleagues. As important as all these people are, ultimately, everyone is responsible for their own success in life. You are responsible for what happens to you or what doesn't happen to you. Very important. You see, too many people today are singing and talking about being free to say what they want and do what they want, regardless of the consequences to themselves and other people. I'm free to do what I want. And like most of you say, it's my life. That's why you put it in it. It's my life. That's true. But when you use that freedom to do things without regard to the consequences on your life and other people, then that so-called freedom is questionable. Freedom that doesn't take your life forward. Is it really freedom? According to the dictionary, freedom is exemption from power or control by another. It is liberty, independence, the capacity to exercise choice, free will. In this society, especially in the Western world, we are free to do virtually anything we want to do. Is that not true? We are free. We are free to smoke if we want. In fact, to do drugs if we want, so long as the police doesn't get us. To live immoral if you want. You are free to do anything. But you see, even though the choice is yours, this choice all too often becomes a habit. A habit is something you do without thinking. It's become second nature to you. You can do it with your eyes closed. And then this habit eventually becomes an addiction. So you see, you were free to do something. But the more you do that thing over and over, that thing becomes a habit. It becomes something you do without thinking, and the habit eventually becomes an addiction. When you are addicted to something, number one, it has to be a bad thing. Number two, it means that you've lost your free will. Even if you want to stop, you can't. You see, when you use your free will to practice something, and it becomes a habit, and then that habit graduates to become an addiction, then you see, you have traded the so-called freedom for slavery. Now you are not free anymore. You may want to quit. But that freedom that started you with has now landed you in slavery. That's why many people are enslaved by drugs, by cigarette smoking, by wrong relationships, wrong habits. They may know that it's killing them, but they can't stop. They use their freedom. It's my life. But they use it eventually. That freedom has turned into slavery. My advice is that there are some things you don't start with. Because once you go that route, it's difficult to turn back. You've heard of Pythagoras before, haven't you? The Pythagoras theorem. I remember. I don't know what it means anymore. He said, no person is free who cannot command himself. If you are not free to make the right choices yourself, to do what is right, then I doubt whether you are really free. You may say you are free, but something else may be driving your life. Nobody is really free who cannot take control of their own life, who is driven by external forces. They're not really free. Mr. Gandhi said, "It is my certain conviction that no person loses their freedom except through his or her own weakness." What that sage was saying is this: you can't lose your freedom unless you allow it. Nobody can take it away. You give it up yourself. According to Kingsley, there are two types of freedoms. The false freedom, where a person is free to do whatever he likes or she likes. That's false freedom. Being free to do whatever you like, even if it's going to kill you. And then the true freedom, where a person is free to do what he or she ought. You see the difference? When you are free to do what you ought to do, when you can use your free will to make the right choices, then you can say that you are truly free. But if you are free and you are using it only to do the things maybe you know that, it's hurt some people before, but you can't help yourself, then you are not really free. That freedom is a false freedom. Yes. Will Durant said, listen carefully. And I love freedom. And I want everybody to be free. And I love the freedom that we enjoy in the Western world. But I believe personally, maybe because I'm older, that sometimes we take it too far. Freedom doesn't mean that there is absence of authority and somebody advising and somebody directing. Doesn't mean that. Will Durant said, have we too much freedom? Have we so long ridiculed authority in the family? Discipline in education, rules in art, decency in conduct, law in the state, that our liberation has brought us close to chaos in the family and in the schools, in morals, in arts, ideas in government. We forgot to make ourselves intelligent when we made ourselves free. Think about it. We forgot to make ourselves intelligent when we made ourselves free. So freedom doesn't mean that do whatever you want, even if it's going to hurt you, it's going to kill you eventually, it's going to hurt another person. You see, we forgot to make ourselves intelligent when we made ourselves free. For instance, A thief can say that they are free to steal, so long as they don't get caught. They can exercise that freedom. But the moment they exercise it, they literally entrap themselves. They put themselves in a cage, even if they are not caught. Can you imagine having stolen something? Maybe you come out of the house, and then you meet a police person in the street. He doesn't even know what you have done. What do you think that the thief will be feeling? Does he know? Nervous? See? They are prisoner in their own mind. Even though the thief doesn't know. I once drove in the car of a friend who didn't have a proper license. We were going from Croydon to Addington, somewhere out there. And we met the police on the road. This guy didn't have a license. The police was coming from a mile away. And their horns were on. You know, that siren. You know, the guy nearly weaving himself. Even though it wasn't about him. You see? He wasn't free. Because he was doing something that he knows was against the law. The police never stopped us. She was full of sweat. You know, perspiring. As if he was going to pass out. That little thing. You see? Think about the time you got naughty. And then you went home. Maybe parents didn't even know. You didn't feel free, did you? You didn't. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. If your dad calls you, oh my God, does he know? Yeah. And then when you are talking to him, you are extra careful just not to say the wrong thing. Then you may give yourself away. See, that doesn't know anything about what you've done. But you've entrapped yourself. See, even if you are not caught, you are still in bondage. Somebody said, anytime we lie to another person, it has a strange habit of turning that person into an enemy. Think about it. When you lie to me, you've made yourself an enemy to me. You are now afraid I may find out. And then what? Maybe the relationship will break or something. You are always praying that, hey, don't let him find out. You make yourself an enemy to the other person we lie to. But when you lie to yourself, you make yourself your own worst enemy. Have we lied to ourselves before? I have. And the lied experience. It may have been a simple thing. Why did I give that answer? Why did I say that? You see, in my lifetime, which is bare long, I've never encountered a genuinely happy man or woman who was not completely loyal to their mate. Think about it. Man or woman, you live in a relationship, you are not loyal to your mate, you can never be happy. You are always pretending. What happens if your phone rings and you've left it in the sitting room and Madame is there? You rush to go and get it, isn't it? Just in case it's somebody wrong. What happens if you see your wife or your husband with your phone? What are you doing with my phone? It's a biggie. What's big about that? Or they are looking through your diary or your computer or something, reading your email. You go crazy. You see? Because you are not loyal. You are not free. For some people, they see freedom as refusing to be committed to one relationship. It's my life. I'm free to live the way I want. But is that real freedom? Every day, such people are living with the mental torture that entails. You see, Living a double life never permits you the freedom to be your best in either of the lives you are living. Unless you have the freedom to be your best, you are not free at all. My advice to you young people growing up, if you want to run faster and longer in life, run light. Don't carry any excess baggage in your pockets and around you. Those weights, they will slow you down. Are you listening? The more you ditch all those rubbish, the easier it is for you to run faster and longer in life and become the winner and the successful person that I'm dreaming for all of you to become. Yes. I think that as society, we need to have a moral compass. But more importantly, you as a person, doesn't matter what is happening around us, you need to have your own moral compass. Draw up a personal plan of do's and don'ts for your life. I don't do this. I don't go there. I don't talk about this. And for you, especially you young men, listen carefully. Your mind is the most important asset you've got. Don't pollute it with junk. Don't. Those things you've been watching online, it's not fun. You may think it's fun today. It's tempting. Even us older people, when you see, you want to look at it again, innit? You want to force yourself, no, I'm not going to look at that. Yes. Because if you pollute your mind, it will affect your life. It will affect your potential to be successful in life. Your mind is the most important thing you've got. Keep it clear. Keep it clean. Keep it refreshed. Keep it well nourished with positive, encouraging material. You see, the sailor has freedom on the seas only when he becomes a slave to his compass. The compass is the thing that gives him direction. Only when he says, I will allow the compass to guide me. If he says, I don't need the compass or the navigator, throw it away, he's lost on the big ocean. Your conscience is your compass. Keep it clean. When you take a train off the tracks, it is free, but it can't go anywhere. The train, Virgin train, take it off the tracks. It's still free, but it can't move. We humans are the same. Freedom, real freedom, only comes when discipline, undergirded by moral absolutes, becomes a way of life. I understand. I appreciate that the pressures on you is unimaginable. When we were growing up, we didn't have as many pressures to contend with. There was no internet. We only went out when it was moonlight. Because there was no electricity in my town for a long time. Now they got one. Thank goodness. We are making real progress. And the primary school in my town has got a computer lab like room 51. By virtue of my charity. Yes. Yes. You see, discipline may weigh ounces, but regret weighs tons. That's a big one, isn't it? Discipline may weigh ounces, but regret weighs tons. I don't know if I should tell you this story, but there was this girl, I will. Because I don't need your permission. This ex-student left here several years ago. I thought we became so close, so she became a member of my family, actually. Since she left the college. You don't come to my house when you are a student. She's visited us several times, sometimes spend a weekend there. A book that I'm writing, she's helping me to type it and all that. She's been through hard times. There were times that she even slept rough outside. A girl. There were times that we had to give her money for travel card or bus pass. I had to, for her to come to college. She finished, very clever. She didn't go to uni because she hadn't been in this country long enough. So I help her plan her life. When you finish, when you get the papers, the first thing, get a job, do that for a short time, and then go to university. If I have to even supplement you, I'll do that. And then somewhere along the line, he met this Ghanaian man of a fox. Sneaky guy. And then ask her a few questions about the guy, as I would every daughter of mine. Sometimes I'll phone her, a missed call, I'll leave the message, and then she doesn't phone back in a week or two and say, why haven't you phoned me back? I left a message. Mark, I don't have, is it credit, you call it? Yeah. The credit to call back. But what about that man? You said he's your boyfriend. He doesn't give me money. But he knows that you are not working. He knows that you don't have family here. So what does he give you? Nothing. If he's not giving you that, if he's not giving you, of course he's giving her something in it. Then ask him. I said, be careful. If you meet a man up front like that, they are stingy. What about if you become familiar? You see, at the beginning, they should be, rolling over to please you. But he wouldn't give you a penny. He wouldn't help you. Wouldn't do nothing for you. He's always talking about, his dad's mortgage and that kind of thing. What's your dad's mortgage got to do with you anyway? And the family didn't like her because she's from another place. I said, be careful, we Africans, your mother-in-law and your sisters-in-law can break your marriage. If he's not a man that has got an independent mind, then he will listen to what his family is saying, isn't it? My family doesn't advise me on my marriage. It has nothing to do with them. I don't discuss anything. You can say hello to my wife. That's where it ends. I like my sisters. I like my family, that kind of thing. But if it works, it works for me. If it doesn't, it's my business. I made a choice. You understand? But some men are not like that. They are still not grown up. They take instruction from their sisters, from their mother. If you marry one of those, you are in big trouble. I didn't hear from this girl for a long time. And then she called me. Said, Mark, you are not going to like what I'm going to say. I figured out. Yeah? Some time ago, they were even preparing to get married. And so I asked her to phone your dad back home. And the dad said, Mark, when it's time. But the dad didn't speak to me. Apparently, she spoke to the daughter. I had never spoken to the dad. Mark, you will stand in for me and be her dad. That's fine. I'll do that. It didn't come on. The boy was always wriggling his way out. He was afraid of responsibility. Like I said some time ago, if a man can get the milk free, he wouldn't buy the cow. He wouldn't. Never, never. He wouldn't buy the cow if you give him what he wants up front. Back home, we have some public restaurant we call Chop Bar. Have you heard that before? Chop Bar in Ghana, yeah? It's a type of local restaurant. You go there, they have these earthen pots that you eat from. We call it ayowa. And when you go to take your fufu and maybe bushmeat or whatever, that kind of thing, they make sure that after they serve you, you go and pay before you take your food. Because they discovered that some ruffian boys, they were coming, they eat the fufu. Before you realize, they sneak out. They're gone. So they became wise. They will serve with the fufu, but go pay before they bring it to your table. Because after a man has eaten the fufu and drank the soup and chew all the meat and wash his hand in the pot, when you ask him to go and pay, it hurts. He doesn't want to. But when he was hungry, you want him to pay first, he will pay. He will pay whatever you ask him. Young girls, are you listening? Don't think that when you give a boy what he wants, he's going to love you more. He's going to hate you. He won't love you more. In fact, the moment you do that, the relationship is over. Forget it. Forget it. Just forget it. So this girl, when they prepared, I asked them, okay, come home. Even if I have to use my own money, I'll do that. Buy some drinks, get a few friends. They'll do some little marriage something, bless it. Because I wanted them, after she was pregnant, I wanted them to be married before the child was born. It makes a lot of difference. But you know what? I think when I said, come home and then we do the ceremony and then I'll pray over it. And then she told the boy that I said I'll pray. And the boy said, I don't believe in prayer. If you don't believe in prayer, what do you believe in? Cursing? Recently, she was given a temporary accommodation. And she's been looking around for a place to move, permanent place. She went to the agents. They want just £450, not big money. And then she sent me a text message. I don't want to ask you this, but she asked, help me. Man, we don't think like that too. Somebody will not chop, then I'll pay for it. It doesn't work like that. No man wants to do that. You understand? But eventually I had to pay half for her. The boy can't be bothered. See, the signs were there at the beginning. You were talking, was it 2 days ago? And I said, Mark, I don't know what I've gotten myself into. I don't know what I've gotten myself into. I knew from the beginning what she was getting herself into. But you know what? You can't tell somebody's relationship, break up with them. But I'll give you clues here and there. Be careful. I don't think he's right and that kind of thing. You go and make your own relationship, your own decision. Because if I tell you to break and winter, you are cold, you say, Mark, you've got your wife and look at me. That kind of thing. You answer, I don't want you to blame me. But you have to make your own decision. She didn't. Then she was moaning. I don't know what I've got myself into. You see, the girl who slept on the street, who had to go through hardship. Now she's going to put her family into the same dysfunction because of the wrong choices she's made. I told her some time ago, it's okay if it's not even okay if you are starving, if you are sleeping on the street. But can you imagine? She had a baby in February last month. If you are starving and your little boy is also starving, if you are having to sleep outside, homeless, with a little boy, that's another story, isn't it? You can cope. But what about the boy? See, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. But if you made the right choices up front, there will be no need for regret. There won't be any. Even if you make a mistake like all of us do, you know you did your best. You know you properly entered that relationship. It's only that somebody was not faithful, was not honest to their word. We know that. You did your best. But if you enter in casually, blindfolded, you will hit a brick wall. Ask yourself these questions. What can I do to become a better student? You may be a good student already, but you can become better, isn't it? Ask yourself, a better son, a better daughter, a better employee if you've got a job. What can you do to live a life of greater integrity? These are personal questions that I want you to go home and ponder over. Nobody can answer them for you. When you listen to your conscience, that's the voice of your spirit, and do these things, you begin to feel a sense of direction in everything you do. Life becomes clearer. You are on target for every assignment, every work. Because you are not wasting your time on unnecessary things. You are living your own script, not other people's script. As long as you are true to this, everything will work to make your dream happen. So start with an inner game. Begin with yourself, the core of your being. What are your values? What's important to you as a person? What do you believe in? What do you stand for? And what would you not stand for? Do you believe in honesty, sincerity, generosity, compassion, caring, love, forgiveness, and truth? What about the values of integrity, personal excellence, creativity, freedom and self-expression, friendship, self-discipline, self-development, and success? What is your take on all of this? You see, you need about 3 to 4 core values to build a successful life. All these that I read, you don't have to be excellent or score 10 out of 10 on every one of them. So long as you have about 3 to 4 core values and build your life on them, you'll be successful. Your relationship will be vibrant because people come around you. You are pleasant, you are beautiful, your words are encouraging and sweet. People want to help you. They want to be on your team. How can you tell your true values? How can you tell? Simple. You always express your values in your actions, what you love doing. It will show in your actions. Some people are always wanting to help other people. What you do, especially under pressure. Let me return to Les Brown again. I may have said this last week, but many of you were not here last week. If you are going to fall, when life knocks you down, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. If you can look up, you can get up. It means no matter where you're coming from, there is hope for you. Even at my age, there is still hope for me. So long as you remain alive on this planet, you may be 100 years old, there's still hope for you. The moment you finish your assignment, you are gone. There's hope for you. It's not about the mistakes you made. It's about the lessons you've learned to take your life to the next level. You see, some people may not believe in you, but let me tell you something. Your greatest revenge is massive success. Those people that don't believe in you, you prove them wrong by succeeding in a big way. Are you listening to me, Cedric? Prove them wrong by succeeding big. When you do that, they'll open mouth and say, oh, you were wrong, you know. You didn't know this boy was so smart. Yeah, they haven't seen anything yet. Yes. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Thank you.